Okay, so Be'ezras Hashem, we are continuing with our series of shirim on the Ramchal's Adir BaMarom, the miraculous commentary on the Ijur Abba section of the Zohar HaKadosh. And we're still just in some of the most beautiful Torah ever written, the introduction to the Ijur Abba from the Ramchal, his beer on it, including the entire Sefer, but in particular because these sugyos in the beginning are so applicable to our experiences, especially in the times we find ourselves in. As we said, the initiation or the desire to start learning the teachings of the Ramchal is because the Ramchal is the light of redemption. The Ramchal is the yichud between the two Mashiachs, Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David, and the secret of Moshe, whose Kalul may train Mashiachin, who contains both elements of Mashiach within him, Nigla and Nister, above and below, Chachma and Binah, and Rav Moshe Chaim Lutzato, Tzadik Yisod Olam, who found the deepest menucha and the deepest simcha in times of Yisurin, in times of difficulty, in times of being chased, in times of concealment, in times where the light of Mashiach undergoes that necessary process of concealment for the sake of a greater revelation. The Ramchal was able to uncover Mesilus B'Levavim. He was able to uncover the paths of connectivity at the heart of the human experience within this world itself, where the bullets are already whizzing by a person's head, as the Ramchal explains in the beginning of Mesilus Yesharim, that the tachlis of this world is to find pleasure, but not to forget that that pleasure must be found from within a place of having always already been thrown into a pre-existing battle where one does not even know where the difficulty is coming from. And the only eitzah that a person has is to look up to the tzaddik who was already in the maze and came out of the maze already and has a different vantage point of how to get out of the maze, and to look towards the tzaddikim, to connect ourselves towards those righteous tzaddikim who go before us and who have paved path for us. That's the path through the maze of the heart in order to reveal the Mesilus B'Levavim. And as we know from the end of the introduction, that the Iker Tachlis of Mesilus Yesharim is to help a person be Zoicha to the secret of Ruach HaKodesh, to the secret of uncovering the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu from within their own most experiences in this world, where the middle that appears to be so devoid of the light of connectivity of the beginning and the end is revealed to have also been part and parcel of that unity. And this is the secret of how the Ramchal ends his introduction based on the pasuk in Tehillim, Hareini Hashem Zdarchecha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, show me your ways, illuminate my path. Et halich ba'amisecha, allow me to walk forward in accordance to your truth. V'yached levavi lirasecha, and allow my heart to be unified and formed and directly connected to the fear of you, to connect all of my concerns and all of my feelings directly to you, to be mamtik all of the dinim b'sharashim, the secret of tikva, of the drush hakivoy, of yearning from within a place of concern up to the source of yira, the secret of being mechaber yira with noira, the fear that a person experiences down here, and attaching it to the source of all awe, which is the secret of Binah, which is the secret of the Gevuros and Mutakos, and the secret of Noira. Man Noira Hamakom Hazan, the yichud of Yira and Nora, of elevating fallen fears down in this world up to the source of the dinim themselves, to be mantik them through the shorish of Binah, as we've discussed so often, the place of Cheres, the place of Eilam Haba, and also the place of concern at the heart of man. And it's specifically from that place that the Geula is going to come from. Hareini Hashem darchecha eshalich ba'amisecha v'yachid levavi lirasecha. And when we look in the back of Derech HaMelech from the Heilige Piazetz Rebbe, Hashem Yom Kamdoma, we see in the Yichud of Hashkata, in the secret of the Talmidim who were describing what it was like to enter into their Rebbe's office, and for the Rebbe, the Heilige Ish Kodesh Tzchus Yogan Aleinu, who taught them the secret of Hashkata, of how to quiet down the noise of the mind in order to prepare oneself for a state of wakeful sleep. When I'm asleep, but I'm awake at the very same time, of quieting down the noise and the excessive, ruminations of thought, and making space, being metzamsem, for a place of sheket panimi and a place of menucha. And in describing that experience of what it was like for the Piazetz Rebbe Hashem Yom Kamdomo to teach this yichud of Hashkata, this silencing technique, which, again, my dear friend Yedid Nafshi, Dr. Benji Epstein, describes so powerfully in his book, Living in the Presence. But to this process of Hashkata, the Talmidim recall that the Rebbe said that it's kedai to take one pasuk, it's kedai to take a pasuk from Tanakh that you can repeat over and over in order to bring yourself into that place of Hashkata, l'mashal. And they describe that the Rebbe took the pasuk, Hareini Hashem darkecha, eshalich ba'amisecha, eshalich ba'amisecha, v'yachid levavi b'yirasecha. That the Piazetz Rebbe took this very pasuk that the Mesilus Yesharim ends his introduction with, and it seems that this pasuk was some element of for the Bnei Nevi'im, this formula, and this pasuk represents the pathway towards finding that inner quietude of Hareini Hashem Darkacha, first and foremost asking and desiring from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to illuminate our path from His light. That's the bittul b'kedima. That's the recognition that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is or ein soif mamish, and there's leis aser panimine, and there's no place devoid of Him. Hareini Hashem Darkacha, show me your path, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All I want to do is follow your path. Eshalich ba'amisecha, and allow me to walk and engrave my feet into the truthfulness of your expression in this world. And the derech of emes is unique for each and every person to come to that place of emes la'amiso. Each person has their own nekuda of emes b'levavam, and that's the path that once I accept the fact that Harini Hashem Darkecha, Kadosh Baruch Hu, you're the one who illuminates my path. Let me walk in accordance to your truthfulness, not accordance to what my conception of things. And unify my heart, unify my experience in this world, with the singular pulsation of love, just like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai describes at the moment of his Petira Mehai Alma, from the moment of the Hilula, where he says B'chad Ketira Ektarena, that it was through one singular expression of connectivity that I connected myself to Yirah Shleilam. That secret of Yira Shamayim, of Yira Ilah, the secret of the Yira that's connected with Ahava and Gilui Bira'ada, and the Yichud of Chachma and Binah and Chachma, in that place of the Yichud of Yira and Noira. And that's the secret of Hareini Hashem Darkecha Salich Ba'misecha Yachid Levavi Birasecha, as the Ramchal writes in the beginning, at the end of the introduction to Mesilas Yesharim. And most fundamentally, within the introduction to Mesilas Yesharim itself, the Ramchal reveals to us that which does not need to be revealed, because it's perpetually revealed to the degree that it appears to be concealed, which is the secret of that which abides in front of us on the day-to-day, that which is present in all of its manifestation, that which is saturating all of existence, is very often the very thing that we need in order to move forward to the next path. That what is revealed right in front of us is the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the Chai Katov Lahetiv, and the goodness that pervades every aspect of existence. And all we have to do is attune our eyes once again to a lens of gratitude, to forget what we've already become accustomed to, and be machadish b'chol yom tuvo, each and every moment, to realize that Rebbeinu Shleilim, you're creating a tzimtzum and you're being mamshich all of the or. What a miracle! Each and every moment there's a hamshachas ha'or from or ein sof, and there's a gilui of kavei el Hashem yachlifu koyach v'kavei el Hashem. There's always a moment of growth, perpetually growing. That's the miracle of the avodah of the Ramchal, that there's no degradation, everything is perpetually ascending. And in this Hakdama to the Ijer Rabbah, the Ramchal is giving us a taste of Elam Haba Mamish, where each and every word is written Baruch HaKodesh, and each and every word deserves a limud of Chazara over and over and over again, until a person comes to understand that they can't fathom the depths that this Giloi of a Sefer is from Rabbeinu HaRamchal. And we just ended with what we were talking about previously, that the creation of the book of the Zohar, very much like the cave that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai had to run into, very much like the Teva that Noach HaTzadik had to find refuge in the state of the flood, very much like the Ari Miklat, those cities of refuge where the accidental murderer, and we're all accidental murderers, we've all killed some element of a dream accidentally, and therefore there's an Ir Miklat that a person has to run to, and how all of these spiritual elements and all of these spiritual tools represent the notion that there is an inherent connection between above and below. And then that connection between above and below gets severed. And then it appears that that connection is truly severed. But then comes along Noach HaTzadik to reveal that no, it's never actually severed, and that in truth, Elyonim and Tachtonim are fundamentally connected. And therefore, we reorient ourselves towards the reality of what it means to feel as if Elyonim and Tachtonim, above and below, are not connected, in spite of the fact that we know that deep down they're connected, that in the innermost chambers of existence, there's perpetual connectivity. And that softens the grappling with disconnection, because we're aware that the disconnection is just a framework in which we can come to a deeper appreciation of connectivity that exceeds its very nature by including disconnection within it. And the Ramchal, once he explains to us that, don't worry, the connection will never actually be broken, so then we go back into the reality that very often there seems to be concealment between above and below. The yud of Shakai seems to be missing, and there's no chibur between the Taryag mitzvos and the Taryag evarim. There's no yichud between Pinimius and Chitzonius, and it seems that the typical way in which we draw down Shefa, in which we draw down in accordance with the proper levels, the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is not functioning. We find ourselves in a state of concealment, and there is, in case of emergency, break glass secret of drawing down the light of Ima, of Binah, into Malchus itself, which is to be mamtik, the severity of Malchus. When things are not operating in accordance with the way that they should be, HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals a hidden place of tshuva, a hidden place of an Ir Miklat, a hidden place of Tevas Noach, a hidden place of the Sefer HaZohar, a hidden place of where Moshe Rabbeinu runs to in order to find Sipora. that hidden place that each and every person has in the back of their minds and that innermost point of Emunah that they can run to, that's the Gilui of Binah coming down to Malchus and Ima being mashpia to the bat, that when Malchus, when the daughter doesn't have what she needs in order to function, the mother is tasked with the responsibility of giving over this extra force, this extra space in which Malchus uncovers a secret pathway of calmness and safety within the heart of the storm, because that's the Ikar Chiddush over here. This Gilui of Ema from Bina into Malchus is not the Tachlis. The Tachlis is to go from Chachma to Bina to Zer Anpin to Malchus according to the Seder Hadargan, because the more we follow the typical path that is developed, the maze that is developed by the Ratzon Elyon, in order for the light to be revealed in this world, the quicker the tikkunim are going to be done. But nevertheless, there is a time where it is impossible to perform the rectifications that are necessary, and there has to be an innermost place that is protected by a force field within the chaos itself that enables a person to process and to find calmness and to draw Geula into Galus itself. When I can no longer find access towards Geula from within my mindset and Galus, then I'm forced to create a secret passage that allows the waters of Geula to drip in a secret way into Galus itself. But that's not for the long term, as we saw by the Teva. Tzohar ta'asa Teva, create for yourself a Teva, but nevertheless ensure that you affix that Aleph of the Shem Havaya Dema, which is the Chut of the Or Ein Sof, which is Yored through Zer Anpin specifically. That always has to remind us that that's the Tachlis. We never want to maintain a form of existence in an emergency situation where Bina is being mashpia to Malchus and only being ma'avar b'derech zah, because then we lose the value of Torah and mitzvahs. Then we use the value of all of the particularity and the ability to draw down the yachad b'mitzias, which is the choik ha'tov lahetiv, into the yachad b'shlita, which is the secret of toiv hanira v'hanigla, in accordance with our desires. And therefore, the tachlis is to always go back up to Zer Anpin, but in moments of distress where we have to find a safe place, in moments of elul, and moments at the end where it's besaf at the very edge of things. So Kadosh Baruch Hu says, Hine makom iti, there is a place for me. There is a place that you can find even when there is no place. And that's the secret of Elul, which is the edge of the year, the death of the year prior to the emergence of the new year and the redemptive qualities of Rosh Chodesh and Rosh Hashanah. There is an uncovering of an Ir Miklat, which is why Elul is Rosh Tevos Ana Liyad of Samta Lo, that it is the pasuk describing the emergence of the accidental murderer into the reality of being chased in this world. And Elul, the secret of the Ir Miklat, the secret of the Teva, is that hidden place of calmness in spite of the fact that I can't necessarily be calm in accordance with the external circumstances. And that's the secret of Moshe Rabbeinu running away. That's the secret of what the Zohar HaKadosh refers to Moshe Rabbeinu Kama Pa'amim as Mare Tiyufta, as the master of tshuva, because he understood the secret of drawing down the light of Bina, which is the sherish of tshuva, into Malchus to illuminate it in spite of the fact that externally things are still broken. Zot the Ramchal. At that time of Moshe Rabbeinu running away, of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai running away, in the time of Tevas Noach, there was still a kilkul. Moshe Rabbeinu could not exit Mitzrayim at that point in accordance with the typical orientation of spiritual growth. There was no way out of Mitzrayim, Kaviyachol. In that place of Ervas Haaretz, the das was covered. Moshe Rabbeinu could not get out of Mitzrayim the typical way. And therefore, even Moshe Rabbeinu, just like we see in Noach, and just like we see by Rashbi, we're going to see with Moshe Rabbeinu, because they're all part and parcel of the same Haskalas of Nishmas Moshe Rabbeinu. And so we see in the time of Moshe that there was also a stuckness. He couldn't escape the klipa of Mitzrayim, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to perform this miracle of allowing the light of Bina to descend down into Nukva. V'az Allah Sham Shelo Keseder. And then Moshe Rabbeinu ascended out of there in a disorderly way. He ran out, not in accordance to the typical Seder of things, which goes from Bina to Zer Anpin, then to Malchus. Here we're skipping Zer Anpin, we're skipping the orderliness of it all, and we're entering into that place of Chipazon. Elakamoy beside Chipazon, but rather he rushed out of there in a way that was scattered, in a way that was topsy-turvy, without really thinking about it. The entire secret of Pesach and running out by Mitzrayim in a rush, which is not going to be how it happens, la'asid level, may it be today, may it be now, that it's going to be slowly but surely with confidence and menuchas emesh atar tzeba. And this is the same Indian for any accidental murderer, just like Moshe Rabbeinu had the din of a shoygeg when he murdered the Mitzri, v'yifen koivako. Still on the darg of tzadik of that level, there's still an element of ritzicha, and Paro Harasha wanted to chase Moshe in the way that he felt that the Goyal Hadam has the ability to chase the accidental murderer. Ki musukan v'karo v'laklipa sharod fosacharav. Ki Moshe Rabbeinu at this point, after the Rishayim of Dasan v'Avihu had seen him, of Dasan v'Aviram had seen him, Chas v'Shalom, Nadav and Avihu, the Tzadik Yesod Olam, Dasan v'Aviram had seen him. Ki musukan v'karo v'laklipa sharod fosacharav. At this point, Moshe Rabbeinu, as we said, is close to the klipa, Chas v'Shalom, at least in an explicit way. It appears that way, even though Moshe Rabbeinu is perpetually on the side of Kedusha, and Moshe Rabbeinu is perpetually operating from the Kodesh HaKadoshim, but the only tachlis of the neshama of Moshe going down into the place of the Nachash is only to reveal the secret of the Mechoykek, which is the gematria of Moshe, which eats from concealment from the inside out, to reveal finally that final wall that appears so thick, and all it will take is the breath of air to knock it down, because the inside of the klipa has already decayed in the secret of the Mechoykek, who eats the snake from within. But it appeared at this point that Moshe Rabbeinu was going to get caught up in this place of being captured by the Goyal Hadam, and this secret of Moshe Rabbeinu running out of Mitzrayim when he didn't have the ability to actually walk his way out of Mitzrayim because he wasn't in the space to have that functional escape. This is the inyan of tshuva. The secret of tshuva, which is the secret of the hisgalus of Binah down to Malchus, and the secret of Elul, of Analiyad, of Samtalo, and the secret of the Tevas Noach, and the Sefer Zohar, and the Ma'aras Rashbi, and the place that Moshe Rabbeinu ran away to that Be'er, and where Yaakov Avinu ran away to, and where all of us run away to. This is the place of tshuva, that in one moment a person is able to ascend out of the Seder Ishtalshalis, Shaloi Seder, and they're able to be Yotzei Achutz, and they're able to ascend very quickly into a place that even the tzaddikim gemurim are incapable of experiencing. And Mashiach Tzidkenu, as the Zohar HaKadosh says, and the Mittler Rebbe explains very clearly, the purpose of Mashiach Tzidkenu is to come to teach the tzaddikim the secret of tshuva, how to be oile in this type of way. In the place where Malchus herself is incapable of getting out of the situation and appears lost, and there's hopelessness that descends upon the experience, the mother, Binah, has to send down that light of the Ir Miklat in order to be mashlim everything. This is a miracle. This breaks teva. All nisim come from Binah, because it's a momentary breakdown of the external order of things to reveal the innermost love and compassion that the mother of Ein Kol Chai, of Binah Ilah, that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is mashpia from the Lev Ha'olam down lamata to us, to the banim, which are receiving from Binah at every moment. That this is where Hakadosh Baruch Hu reveals the secret of an ace, above and beyond the chuk of the teva, which are mesudarim lefiza, which is the secret of Zer'an being mashpia to Malchus. In this moment where Binah is oile and it goes down immediately to Nukva, Avad, it has to go through Zer Anpin, but we said it's only a ma'avar b'derech Zer Anpin, and it goes through the Vav and the Aleph and the Miloi Aleph at the heart of the Vav, and the Shem Ma, which is the Chut of the Orient Sof, which is the Nishmas Moshe Rabbeinu b'Pnim Yuso, which is the Hamshach of the Kav Orient Sof, which is Torah's Moshe itself. So we always place that aleph and the desire to return back to Zer Anpin and back to the typical order of things, but there's a moment of Shaloi Seder where we reveal the safety of ourselves in a disorderly way. V'zehu soid ir miklat, and this is the secret of the city of refuge. Ima benukva. This is the secret of Ima, Bina, Tshuva, the Teva of Noach, the Zohar Kadosh, the Ir Miklat, the place that Moshe Rabbeinu ran away to, the Ma'aras Rashbi. It's expressing down to Nukva u'mekabela satzrotzeach, and it makes space. It's mekabel, that person who doesn't have the ability to save themselves. Shenukva loy haisam matzilaso, that in accordance with the typical orientation of things, Malchus would not have had the capacity to save this person. They don't have a makom. There is no makom. Kila eretz lo yuchup eladam asher shoyfech ba, because there's a cloud that when there's blood spilt on the ground, that the ground demands rectification. The ground demands nakama. The ground demands a redemption of the goyal hadam itself. Hadam hu nefesh, the most external nature of things, demands its toveya. There's a tviyah from the dam itself to be mamtik the dam in the secret of Eke, which is Aleph, Aleph Hey, Yud, Aleph Hey Yud Hey, which is the secret of Eke, Ba'acharayim, which is the gematria of dam, because when a person is patient, they sweeten the difficulty of the dam and they allow themselves to find that redemption. So it turns out over here what we're seeing is that there's a moment in a person's life. There's a moment in a person's life, like we're learning from Moshe Rabbeinu, like we're learning from Rashbi, that doesn't allow a person to go in accordance to the typical order of things. And in this moment, we have to uncover the deepest strengths that we have, the deepest kochos that we have, in spite of the fact that we're not holding by that madriga. And this is the nature of an Ir Miklat type of reality and an Ir Miklat type of generation, where the Sfas Emes, Chusya Ganalenu, says that the Ir Miklat was a makom that wasn't a makom. It was a placeless place. It wasn't a place. It was Hine makom iti. There was a place with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Ein Oilam makomo elohu makomo shel oilam, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the makom ha'amiti, and the secret of ha'makom yanachem eschem, and the secret of the makom that emerges to redeem Klal Yisrael be'achras hayamim, and that hine makom iti, and that there's a makom that HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals, and that's the makom ha'mikdash that David Melcha Mashiach and Yosef Tzadik are always searching for, and Moshe Rabbeinu is coming into that place in the secret of Mibein Shnei Akruvim. But this makom is prepared only for people who have lost hope in the functionality of the previous makom. Malchus no longer works. There needs to be, in case of emergency, break glass. There's an eis lasois la'Hashem hifru sayrasecha, which demands that we avert our eyes from the fundamental hanhaga of Zer Anpin for a moment in order to draw down the light of Binah. Even though the tachlis, the asalavo, in which is right now, is the reality that it has to be b'derech zah itself. We have to draw it down through Torah and mitzvahs as well. It's the secret of Binah coming down through Torah and mitzvahs, pshuto mashmo, maisios hamitzvos and shmiras hamitzvos, v'chule v'chule. Soif davar. Says the Ramchal, Yesh Brecha v'Yesh Yitzia. There are two ways of escaping from dire straits. There are two ways of emerging from Ben HaMitzarim. There's Brecha, there's running away in accordance with something far beyond the typical nature of things. That's the emergency situation. There's an urgency, there's a contingency of the moment, there's a need, the exigency of the moment. There's nothing to do other than run out in this moment. And Yesh Yitzia, and there's also the gradual escape. Brecha, running away, who shaloy al pi seder hamadrigos. It's not in accordance with the typical order of things, meaning to say it's not going to last because it doesn't go through Zer Anpin in the way that it needs to happen. And in truth, the only safety that belongs to a person who's running out in the secret of Brecha is to be subsumed within that ha'ara of Binah that's misgala down in Malchus, which is a secret of a hirher tshuva, which reveals to me that everything is okay, and that zidonis nisapech l'schuyos, and that me'ahava techasa al kol ha'psha'im, and a person can go all the way up to that place in Lamala from the tzadikim. It turns out that by way of this escape, a person escapes the clutches of concealment and difficulty and hopelessness, and they escape through that secret pathway of Ima. Amnan, nevertheless, because this is a circuitous route and it's not the typical way of things operating, just like the escape from Mitzrayim, this can't last forever. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants things to go in accordance to the Seder, not Shaloi Kaseder. As Rabbeinu tells us, there's Seder and Shaloi Kaseder, and our job is to bring the Shaloi Kaseder into the Seder, and to reveal how the Seder is just working at a Loi Kaseder that's higher than it, and every grasp of Seder is Magala, a Loi Kaseder that's higher than it, that reveals another Seder, until the Giloi of Seder and Shaloi Kaseder itself at once. But in this Metzias, we have to continuously draw it down Keseder. We want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to save us b'derech teva. We want to be Magala through our own Bechira. We don't want it to be a Nehemed de Kisufa. We want to earn it through the volition of our own experience, through the labor of our own souls and bodies, in order to encounter the sweet Te'ima of Gan Eden, as Leshem Shloi V'Cholema says, that the Tachlis of Choy Katoiv Lehetiv, the ultimate good that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bestow, and the Klal HaGadol of the Ramchal, that in order for the ultimate goodness to be fully bestowed, it has to be in accordance with the receptivity of the vessel, and therefore we have to earn it through our own work, because otherwise we'll be ashamed to look at it. But when a person also comes to a dasav, there's no amount of effort necessary in this world to accomplish needing anything or being deserving of anything at all, and everything is a matnas chinam. So what happens then? What happens when a person doesn't care about the nehemed kisufa? What value is there in bechira? So zok l'shem shba v'chaloma, that be'emes, the truth of reality is also based on the hiskalus of the yichud ha'amiti of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the yichud of the beginning, the middle, and the end, the revelation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has been within every single moment, at every single aspect of existence, down to the most minuscule expression of human experience, and the hanhaga elyoina that's been niskala through us and in us at every moment is the megala milsa lemafreya. It reveals retroactively how everything b'li yotzim min haklau is part and parcel, and is part and parcel of chayk hatoiv lehetiv, of the ultimate goodness that is going to be bestowed. And in that place we have the ability of revealing the deepest level of achdus. Why? Because ha'adam karu beitzel atzma. There's nothing closer to the human being in this world other than themselves. The human being is alienated from themselves, divided from themselves, but that space of distance that opens up through that natural alienation that emerges through the trauma of birth, that is the most minimal amount of distance imaginable for a human being to overcome the alienation and the void that separates one thing from its other. So when I earn something through my own labor and my own effort, and through the utilization of my strength, and through the expression of my koyach, through my own gevuros, some misgaber, ezu gibor, akoivesh es yitzro, and I overcome myself, at that point I have revealed more from within the less. I have revealed more than what I was previously holding in the secret of miyot machzikas amaruba, the minimum that holds the maximum, which is the secret of the tzaddik. And therefore, the Leshem says that the tachlis is for the person to be mischaber to themselves through the secret of our own labor, and therefore even without the model of Nehemed Kisufa, we work because that's the ikr giloi of the yichud, and therefore we want to be megalazan in the or hagula by way of bechira, which is zer anpin, and not only through this in case of emergency break glass expression of ima of Binah that's mispashet lamata down into Malchus, which is why a brecha is exciting and it takes a person out immediately to a place higher than the tzaddikim, but as we know from Leil Pesach, it doesn't last. And this is what it says by Moshe Rabbeinu. V'yeshev ala be'er. After Moshe Rabbeinu escaped from Mitzrayim and he found the connectivity to Leah, which is the Amad Iskasia, which is the secret of finding a Kadosh Baruch Hu in the expression of Binah itself in a way that is not oriented with the typical workings of things, because according to the typical working of things, Leah belonged to Esav. It's only through Einei Leah Rachos, through the crying and the tears and the Zicha Ha'enayim, to see beyond that which is revealed externally and to view the innermost Pnimius Hadvarim through the Einei Leah Rachos, the soft, sensitive eyes that see through the concealment of this worldliness. They see an Amud Iskasia where a person can be saved by Ima that expresses herself down directly into Malchus. And a person doesn't necessarily need the secret of Zer Anpin. That's the secret of Leah. That's the secret of Moshe Rabbeinu marrying Tzipora, who was an expression of Leah. Moshe Rabbeinu escapes and he ascends above the Be'er. Be'er is Malchus. He ascends above from it. Why? He escaped the well of Malchus and he ascended to a place of Binah. And he found Sipora there. Shehi besoid Leah, which is the secret of Binah. Lamala from Malchus. Leah is not the real Malchus. Rachel is the real Malchus. Within the real Malchus, there's a Leah Elyon in the secret of Rachel Hagadoila. Avada, there's an element of Leah. But over here, this Leah, which is Me'achore Hazah, that's mispashet in the secret of the Malchus of Tvuna. So this place of Leah is that hidden escape latch where we can ascend up into Binah without necessarily doing the work. That's the realm of imagination. V'teda shagam Yaakov Leah betchila. This is also by Yaakov Avinu. He also had to first and foremost encounter the counterpart of Leah, which is the secret of Alma de Iskasia, which is the hidden escape into Binah. Ki haya bayreach me'esav, because he was also running away from Esav. Aval al kol panim sodo b'derech acher. That's a different thing. It's a different secret. Ve'en kan makom biro. And here's not the time for us to explain it. Hihulo yashav ala be'er. Yaakov Avinu didn't sit on top of the be'er. He never escaped Malchus. Rather, he wanted to include Malchus, which is Leah. Ela vayar v'hine be'er basadeh. He saw the secret of the be'er shehi Rachel. He never ascended above Rachel. Moshe Rabbeinu had to escape, and the secret of Tefillah l'Moshe Isha Elokim, which is Rosh Tevos Leah, because that's the secret of where Moshe Rabbeinu found that escape latch. V'hine kain Yisrael acher kach b'tzeisem miMitzrayim. We find the same expression of this brecha, the sudden escape in case of emergency, break glass, saving moment where I throw myself fully into the ahava b'ta'anugim and the tshuva me'umka de liba from umka de tahima ad reim hamalos, and that secret of Rabbi Lazar ben Durdayev, who was in the beginning, Klal Yisrael had to run away, and they ran to the place of Binah, which is the secret of Geula, which is the secret of Kriyas Yamsuf, beside Achipazon, where running away, they broke time. Things were not in accordance with the way they needed to take place, as we see Kiyadua beside Leil Shimurim, where Gadlus Sheni comes before Katniss Rishon, where we find the Moichin coming before the concealment, which is the secret of the Brecha, but those Moichin that come down on Leil Pesach don't last. We know that they escape, and we have to try and retrieve them after. We have to try and retrieve them after through the Zman of Svias HaOmer, and then we have to earn it back in the time of Shavuos. After the Chipazon and the Brecha with Leah, we enter into that place of the slow and steady escape, the Yetzia Berachel. Because the mind and the Moichin that emerged miraculously, with the greatness emerging before the smallness, unlike the typical process where smallness precedes greatness, over here we found that the greatness preceded first, and it was clear that everything was good and it was full geula, and that goes away, and then we have to bring it back. Amnan kivan shekvar Moshe shaya klalus shal kol hashishim ribui. But nevertheless, we have to keep something in mind, because the Ramchal is saying something very powerful here. Typically, we see that there's brecha, there's running away, there's escaping into that illumination of the Sharanun of Binah, which is the Ima that's mashbia down to Nukva, in the secret of Tevas Nayach, Sefer HaZohar, Ma'aras Rashbi, v'chule, and the Ir Miklat. But nevertheless, that escapes us, and it doesn't last, and we have to go through the process of Yitzia, and we have to thoroughly earn it on our own, as if we never actually experienced anything at all. And that's what happens on Pesach night, where the Moichin leave us, and we have to retrieve them back in Sviras HaOmer, and then we finally retrieve them back again through our own work, on Shavuos. But there's a problem here, that the implication in that model is that the moichin that we receive on Pesach night dissipate, they escape, they go away, and then we have to learn to walk our way back to that place that we had suddenly ran to. And there's a klal that the Torah's Chacham, Rav Chaim de la Rosa, Talmud Mufak of Rabbeinu HaRashash describes based on this klal, that ein siluk moichin lo'olam, that when we talk about the departure of moichin, it's never literal, because there's a klal gadol in the writings of the Arizal and Pnimius HaKabbalah that any expression of creativity or holiness or light or anything at all that descends downwards in its truest form of goodness, even when it extends itself upwards again, even when it disappears, it still leaves an irreducible trace that rests in the very foundation of that experience. It remains, it's never erased. And ein siluk moichin oilam means that in truth, there's no moichin that ever went away. And even though we might lose the glimpse of the moichin that came down, b'derech berecha, suddenly not in accordance with the typical order of things from Pesach night, nevertheless, it still stays there. There's still an imprint there. And it's certainly not for naught, but rather that emergent experience where we ran out into the depths of above by way of the depths of below, and that secret of the moment of tshuva, of yesh kana olamu b'sha'achas, of acquiring one's world in one moment, in the secret of tshuva, me'umka deliba, and mi'makim krasicha Hashem, in the secret of mibein hamitzarim, kol rodfei hisigua, mibein hamitzarim, in the moments of dire straits, we have the ability of grasping something even higher. It lasts an imprint. There's a roishim there. And this is what the Torah's Chacham says, that ein siluk moichan oilam. And so listen to what the Ramchal says. Amnan kivan shvkar Moshe shaya klalush kol hashishim ribui, but because Moshe Rabbeinu, who included with himself all 600,000 root sources, souls of Klal Yisrael, Bareach, since Moshe Rabbeinu went through that original process of the Berecha, of running out, not in accordance with the typical order of things, and going down from Binah into Malchus without the typical order of things, which generally demands a reorientation and doing it right afterwards when I sober up. Because Moshe Rabbeinu went before us, as Rabbi Nachman ben Fega, Rabbi Nachman ben Simcha Nachman teaches us that the reason that everything in spirituality was so difficult for him, and why there were so many manios, and why it's like that for Mashiach Tzidkenu as well, is because he's paving paths, he's clearing forests in order to make way for the Dor Acharon, so that it should be easy and that we should be able to go through every manio with the most ease whatsoever. Al Kain afilu habrecha, because Moshe Rabbeinu went through it already, even the running away that we do afterwards, it was actually considered as if it was part and parcel of the Yitzia. That means those miraculous lights of the Binah that's mashpia down to Malchus, it doesn't fully escape, because that was what Moshe Rabbeinu was willing to do for Klal Yisrael. But now that Moshe Rabbeinu, Rayim Hemel, was willing to self-sacrifice in that way for Klal Yisrael, so now anytime something like that happens, it's not as if we gained nothing, but rather it's as if we gained it through our efforts, because the part of Moshe within us has already gone through that work. But nevertheless, on an external level, it still maintains some element of a brecha, meaning to say, Ein siluk moichan oilam, don't think that the moichan actually leave. They're still there, you're just revealing that they're always there. And this is the secret, that when Klal Yisrael ran away, they told the Melech Mitzrayim, they told Paro Rasha that the nation ran away. It doesn't say they're in the act of running away, but rather they already ran away, because even their running away is now considered as an actual escape, because Moshe was the one who ran away already for us. Ela ki barach, it means he already ran away. Shekvar barach kol ha'am bebrecha Moshe betchila, because it was as if the entire nation went through the process of going into exile for the sake of being redeemed in the Ir Miklat, to find Chayim b'saf ha'mavas, to find Shalom b'saf ha'machlokas, to find Yeshua b'saf ha'difficulty. And for this reason, Moshe Rabbeinu is referred to as the master of tshuva, by entering into that place of ima, which is the secret of tshuva, besoid ir miklat, in the secret of the ir miklat be'ezras Hashem.